Now here on the screen we have the vowels that are all the vowels of English minus the diphthong sounds, which we'll get to later on, but this is all of the tense and lax vowels. And the tense vowels are in red and the lax vowels are in black. But first let's look at this chart for a moment and get a little bit more of an understanding of what this chart is, what it's meaning. So here on the high side we have the closed word, close, and here, down here we have open. This is essentially the profile of the jaw of the mouth when uttering these words or these sounds. We have E at the highest point, and it's also near the front of the mouth. And then we have ah, which is the lowest point at the back. So those are the two extremes, E and ah, of the vowels that we're going to say. All the other vowels exist within those two positions. So let's practice these two positions of E and ah. Just practice going back and forth a few times on those two sounds. The way we can tell if a sound is tense is by contrasting it with the sound next to it. So here E is contrasted with the sister sound, which is I. So when you say E, I, a couple of times, you'll notice one is more tense than the other. Can you try saying E, I a couple of times? And you notice when you say I, it feels more relaxed. And putting it into the E sound to stand up the tongue high and forward like that in the mouth. And the back vowel is ah, which is a lax vowel, or excuse me, a tense vowel. And the lax sound that's the sister sound of that would be Now notice what your tongue feels like when you compare and contrast ah and ah, 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 ah sound is actually you're using your tongue and pulling it lower than the neutral position of the schwa, which is in the middle of the chart here. Pulling it lower, you're actually causing tension in the tongue. So that's where the tense vowel is. Say the as in the word the, is really like the position of an upside down spoon in the mouth, okay? Like a 3-year-old who's eating their baby food and they turn the spoon upside down, right? They do that a lot. It's sort of easier to rest the spoon upside down in your mouth than it is right side up, right? That's the shape of the tongue when it's in its neutral position, really, right? So the sound is neutral, therefore it's lax, and the ah is tense by pulling itself down. That's where we have those two sounds. Okay? The vowel chart is very essential in determining all of the vowels, tense and lax, of the phonetic alphabet that we'll be studying, with some variations as to the symbols that they use in IPA according to some resources and compared to our resources. But we'll get into the description, those dialectic transcriptions later. So we have these tongue positions which are very important. When it's high, the tongue, when you say E, is pushing high into the mouth on E. Even on the back vowels, over on the back side of the vowel chart here, you'll find the oo sound is also very high. In fact, they're the same height, E and oo, which were located on the left and the right side. So E and oo are high vowels. Ah and ah, say those two sounds. Ah, ah. The tongue for ah is arching a little bit, even though it's the same height practically for ah and ah, the ah is pushing forward a little bit. notice the feeling of that pushing forward. Say, ah. Tongue pushes out and forward, and ah, it pulls back. Ah. The positions are like this, where the tongue is arching high and closed, or open and low. You can interchangeably use those two adjectives, close and high, open and low, front and back. But that vowel chart exists right here in the middle of the mouth. This is the neutral position right here the tongue is in right now, which would be in the middle part of that vowel chart. You're saying E. You can say E, ah as an exercise, would be a good exercise to practice, even as a warm-up exercise before practicing by listening to the samples, understanding that you're practicing the difference. But let's look at E and ah right here. You can see I would probably make this even a little bit more forward in the mouth. It has room to do that with the E sound. Sort of hard to see, but the ah is actually pulling down lower. So this is a concave section of the tongue, so it's sort of curved. The middle is lower and the sides are higher. And when we say E, obviously it's like making a fist with the hand. It's the outside part of the hand, obviously, not the inside part, that's making this curvature here. But this is more of like a palm side of the hand, where the palm is open. E, ah. Let's do it 5 times in a row.